Hey everyone, Ryan here. Just a quick note at the start of the episode to clarify something. We picked this week's comic, The New History of the DC Universe, The Dakota Incident, because at the time of recording there was a boycott of DC Comics, organised by the Black Comics Alliance. We just wanted to use an episode to highlight some of the lesser known and underused Milestone characters that DC could and should be doing more with. Anyway, the day after we recorded the episode, the boycott was called off after only a few days, because of the organisers accepted some of the criticisms of their approach. So if at any point in the episode we refer to the ongoing boycott, then that's why. Despite whatever is happening with the boycott, me and Jamie still felt that their criticisms of DC and their lack of use and promotion of black characters are still valid. But if you want to check out their arguments for yourself, then there's a link to their campaign in the description. So, now that's all out of the way, here's Jamie reading a poem.
What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Hello there, that was Harlem by Langston Hughes, and this is Comic Literate, the podcast where we comically
and literally
review comic books. I'm your host, Jamie, and that was my co-host, Ryan.
Well, as someone who's done a bit of voiceover work in my day, I can say that was pretty good going.
Thank you, that's my first time.
And obviously I'll let out all the awkward pauses and all the times where in between paragraphs you were like, oh, I can't do this. I'll edit those out.
Fuck you. That was seamless and beautiful, and you know it will
sound that way, yes.
No! Leave it in entirely unedited, because I think I did a good job.
I couldn't possibly put in all those points when you went, yeah, but all comics matter. I wouldn't do that to you and leave those in.
So what are we talking about today, Ryan?
So after that somber beginning, I'm very unusually serious for comic literate.
For me as well, because I feel like you can sometimes... Well, no, actually, I'm more earnest than you. I know I seem like a right knobhead, but I am the more serious one, aren't I?
We play it up a little bit for the podcast. Like, you know, just gaffs get clicks, I think that's a saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone says that.
Absolutely.
So, this week is called The New History of the DC Universe, The Dakota Incident, and essentially it's the merging of the Milestone characters into the DC mainline universe.
So this one, well, it appeared in 3 acts, didn't it?
Yes, which I didn't realise until I saw the credits.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there was different writers and artists.
Lots of people credited here.
Yes.
So we'll go through. Act 1 was written by Joseph P. Illich, drawn by Valentine Delandro, and the colorist was Marissa Louise.
Mm-hmm. Act 2 was written by Stephanie Williams, drawn by Carlo Pagulayan and Steven Segovia, with inks by Jason Paz and colors by John Callis.
And then Act 3 was written by Morgan Hampton, drawn by Fico Ossio?
Think Ossio.
We'll go Ossio. And the colorist was Ulysses Areola.
Who we have mentioned before, and you laughed at their name then.
Ulysses Areola. Great name.
And the prelude and epilogue, written by Nicholas Draper-Ivey, art by Edwin Gallman, and color by Andrew Dalhouse.
So, should we hop in on general thoughts? Just right on the top.
In order to do that, we need to play, as is tradition.
As is traditional.
The general thoughts theme. Let's do the... So...
Ryan changed the hand gesture that we do for that. I still went with the traditional British military salute. We won't mention what Ryan did.
No, that sounds worse. I did the Black Power Fist. Like, because if you say it, that could be the Elon Musk...
You said you did the Black Power Fist, but your hand was open, Ryan. Right angle, wrong hand gesture.
You're not gonna... My heart goes out to you, Elon Musk me. For God's sake.
I'm just autistic.
I didn't realize that was a pass.
Anyway. Yeah, so... I liked this.
Yeah, so also, to state what it is, I said before, it is a comic that's basically kind of resetting the canon of, like, this is how these characters exist in the DC mainline universe.
And are these characters that DC bought from another publishing house?
So what's interesting is Milestone Comics was a independent company, but they had a deal where all their stuff was published through DC.
Yeah.
But DC did not, and they started in 1993. But what's interesting is DC did not have any editorial control over what they produced. they only had control over what they published. So they could turn something down, but they couldn't say, like, you need to do it this way or whatever.
So they could neglect to publish it, but they had no editorial input.
Yeah, and Milestone Media, they owned all the rights over everything they produced. And with that deal as well, it meant that if DC did turn something down, like an entire character or story or comic line, they could take it somewhere else. Like they could take it to a different publisher. So they had that power at the very least. I think it's also worth mentioning that Milestone was founded by Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cohen, Michael Davis, and Derek T. Dingle, and Christopher Priest.
Derek T. Dingle.
Are you laughing at every surname?
Derek T. Dingle is a fantastic fucking name.
It's a pretty good name.
The fact that it made me smile is neither here nor there. It's a fantastic name.
And a person who's probably accomplished far more than we ever will.
Yeah,
almost certainly.
Despite having the surname Dingle.
The fact that their name on Wikipedia is a blue link, like...
Yeah.
That's how we'll know we've made it.
Are we on Wikipedia?
I'm almost certain we're not. Unless we create it. I'm pretty sure we
Well,
haven't.
surely it's one of the super fans.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the time and effort, and then it inevitably goes onto, like, biography within the Wikipedia, and, it's got, like, the headers at the side.
Yeah.
It's, like, numerous controversies. Like, oh, no. I was hoping they weren't going to include those.
I was hoping they weren't going to mention the Nazi salute.
I mean, that could be either of us. Anyway, God, if someone's listening, like...
It's nuanced.
These are not the allies we wanted.
You only have to go back through our back catalogue to realise that we are both bleeding heart liberals. It's okay.
But also say the worst things sometimes. Anyway, so with Milestone, unfortunately, the company did eventually go out of business in the noughties,
right.
But it did mean that DC essentially bought the IP from them and included them into the DC universe.
Yeah.
So they've had them for a while. They've not used them especially well, I don't think. The one I think that got the most attention is a character named Static, who did get a mid-noughties, I think it was early noughties, I'll say. Early noughties cartoon, like an after-school cartoon kind of thing, which was great.
Right,
made me a big fan of the Static character after that.
Yeah.
Also, he crossed over with like Batman from the Batman animated series.
Oh, dope.
Justice League, Batman Beyond. Like there was a bit where Joker tried to get him with the hand buzzer thing that normally kills people.
But
Static's
funny.
just like, oh, that's cute. Here's mine, and like shocks Joker. And it's
That's
like, yeah,
great.
you get him, you get him, Static. So yeah.
So this was this DC's way of trying to roll the Milestone guys into the DC universe as a whole, right?
So they done the official rolling in. So they did an event where they did like, oh my god, the DC universe and the Dakotaverse are both being threatened by this cosmic entity. We need to fight them together. And like, oh, now everything's resolved. Oh, the universes have been merged. Like,
cool. Yeah, makes
literally
sense.
happens so often in these universes.
Did you know that happened in the Norse mythology?
I mean, again, Marvel and DC are the modern Norse mythology like canon. Like,
so there's two like factions of Norse gods. There's the Aesir and the Vanir, and they talk about them as two distinct groups. And I suppose, is it anthropologists or historians? It's kind of both, really. Think that these were two distinct sets of Germanic gods, and then two peoples kind of met, two different sets of tribes, or two peoples of differing but similarly Germanic heritage met, and they exchanged the stories about all of their gods, and they kind of all got intermingled into the Norse mythology that Story Sturluson wrote. And so they think that there was a Norse crossover event. How dope is that? And
in the classic like Marvel or DC version, it's like, we're only keeping the canon we like, and we're going to forget about all the stuff we don't like.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so they did that, and then clearly didn't use the characters much beyond giving Static a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. And then with this comic coming around, they have kind of they released this comic as like we're rewriting the history a bit so we can bring them even closer into the mainline DC universe. So it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I think part of the general thoughts is my reading of this and then what I would have thought afterwards, because I read this and went, oh, cool. So we're going to at least be getting some kind of Static series set in this new kind of status quo. And then we didn't.
Yeah.
And
how old is this?
This comic is from February.
Okay, so there's still time.
I mean, yeah, but you would expect, like, again, if I just read this without knowing any of the other stuff, I would have expected a Static comic to be advertised at the end, being like, if you want to check out more, like, check out Static in stores next month. Like, I would have expected that.
This was good, and I liked the Static character.
Yeah.
And you
see what I mean? He felt like the main guy that they was going to do something with afterwards.
100. Well, there's a couple of characters.
Yes.
But there's a couple that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because there's a few that I think it would be really cool to see a bit more of. But in general, I like the comic. In general, I really liked what it looked like they were trying to achieve with it, i.e. setting up some kind of, milestone stories.
Yes.
Right? Setting up a new kind of, reintroducing us to the milestone characters, setting this up as a new paradigm that we get to see some stories in. It's a shame that 4 months on, they haven't done anything with it.
Exactly. And that is kind of endemic of the problem, even though this title sold out to require a second printing. So it was successful despite no promotion from DC and the writers and artists having to be like, hey, everyone, check out this comic that we've done. Please buy it.
Yeah, which is a real shame, but I can see why it was successful because it's interesting by turns. I think it hits on some really prescient points. Before we talk about it in any more detail, though, should we start with the arting?
Well, the only way we can do that in this very serious episode of the podcast is we have to do the starting with the arting song.
I've made a lot of concessions to you, Ryan, right? I gave you Marvchul.
I mean, we do it every year, so...
No, fuck you.
And I think fans are all right with that.
They're all right with that. I'll tell you what I'm not all right with, though, is the intro music starting with the arting. So can we do starting with the arting?
Of course. And we're starting with the arting.
I'm not,
and we're gonna talk about art.
I refuse.
So what do you think of the art?
I hate it. I like the art. I hate that so much.
Okay.
And I'm going to get shit in the comments. I already know I'm going to get shit in the comments for that.
Your opinion is noted and we will move on.
No, I am one half of this podcast.
Yeah. You're the half that has noted their dissent with the art music.
I'm fucking, mate, I'm so done. I've had such a long day.
But more importantly, what do you think of the art?
I did like it, yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I liked how the characters looked.
It's really difficult, I think, in 2026 to create cool-looking superhero costumes that sufficiently harken back to the visual language of superhero costumes, which has existed for, nearly 100 years now, and for it to be cool, and for it to be fresh. And I think all of those costumes look really great.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think the Static one, I'm not sure. So Static originally looked... his costume looked a bit different.
Yeah.
Which I'm just going to bring up and show you now. So this is what Static looked like originally. You can...
Oh, his new costume's way cooler than that.
And the only thing I don't know for sure is whether the cartoon had this newer updated costume.
Yeah.
I don't know if they created it for the cartoon or if they created it in the comics and then adapted in the cartoon.
But ultimately, I think they've done a really great job on the costumes. Particularly, I think, is his name Atomic?
Oh, Icon?
Icon.
The Superman
he has something akin to a cape that isn't a cape.
Yes.
And I think it was sufficiently robe-like and sufficiently cape-like to be a really great kind of nod to the visual language of superheroes of the 1950s.
Yep.
Without being that. And I thought it was really cool. I thought they did a really good job of making a roster of superheroes that had a consistent visual language that harkened back or kind of nodded to the visual language of superheroes as it exists, whilst also being fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they take a little bit of more classic look with Icon, that more updated, unique look with Static.
Yeah.
Hardware, it looks like their own version of an Iron Man kind of thing, but which, technological armor is not, owned by Iron Man in terms of the idea.
And then Icon's sort of sidekick, Rocket.
Yeah.
She
really,
looked great.
Yeah, really unique design.
So she was my favorite character.
Yes.
I thought Rocket was really cool. I mean, it helps that the narrator is her son.
Yes, from the future.
From the future. And so he's obviously kindly disposed to his mum,
and he has more of a futuristic look, naturally.
Yeah, but I know that this was kind of setting up Static as being the hero, but I think she is really cool, and I think her power set's really interesting. Personally, I would want to see a run with her juggling the complications of being a mother, the complications of being a mother to a superpowered child, whilst herself also being a hero. I just think that would be really fucking cool.
Well, that's something we'll get into the story of. Is she still going to be a mother in this universe?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So overall, I would say art is good.
Yeah, I do really like looking at it again now. I do really like the art in the what they call the volume 1. So after the prelude, it's first bit into the kind of the present day.
Well, yeah, because there's 3 distinct. Now that you mention it, there are definitely 3 distinct art styles for the 3 artists. All of them are great, but yes, I also have a particular soft spot for Act 1.
The future part, the prelude, is intentionally quite sleek looking because it's Neo Gotham kind of look, or it's Neo Dakota, this fictional city in this universe, but it looks quite slick and quite sheen. Then when you get to the volume 1, it's kind of flashbacks, so it has a little bit of like a nostalgia vibe to the art style, I think.
It's also quite impressive that they fit 3 volumes into 40 pages.
Well, a volume is like, I think they're just using the term of like this section, and this section.
But for, most comic books are about 25 pages. They kind of fit 3 short issues into 40 pages here. It's quite impressive.
Yes. And then when it gets to kind of real present day, it's very much akin to what I would say is the DC house style.
Yeah.
And I think that's very intentional because the whole point of this is bringing them into the DC mainline universe. Yeah. So I think as much as we can say for the art. So we move on to the old story.
Yes.
Get onto the old story ski.
Yeah. So we are presented with a narrator who is Static's nephew.
Yes.
Who is displaced in time?
Yeah. So what I interpret it as, because I did have to kind of reread it to be like, what's actually happening here? Classic DC things, like I'm just chilling out in the future, but we call it the present, but other people might call it the future. I'm just chilling out. I'm just knocking out a bad guy, saving the day, and oh my god, my reality is being erased. And somehow Beacon has the power to separate himself from this erased timeline and go back in time. Not sure how that relates to his powers or not. Maybe that's the thing he could always do. Who knows?
Well, he tells his suit to do it, doesn't he?
Yes. And it kind of protects him. And then also he's just casually like, I'm going to go back in time. And I'm like, if you can, then you should. Absolutely. And then it gets to the present day where it retells the history. So there's a lot happening in that part. Do you want to retell that? Or
but the history isn't the history of his timeline, is it? It's a new timeline where things are different.
Up to a point. So I think there's a point where it's the same history. And then they make a point where basically we have a bit of a World War I Franz Ferdinand situation where a character is assassinated.
Yeah.
One of the heroes, Hardware, is falsely accused of the crime.
Because he was the first one on the scene.
Yes, and had a vendetta against a rightful vendetta against the person.
Yeah, it's pretty it's unfortunately pretty reasonable that he was accused of it.
Yes, and then the narrator, the character Beacon, being like, wait, no, this is different, and making a point of this being the change of the timelines, essentially.
And essentially, the kind of bones of the story is that Lex Luthor is president.
Yes.
And he forces the hand of all of the Milestone heroes to sign a declaration that they won't use their powers to protect the city of Dakota anymore.
Yeah.
And essentially putting a gagging order on these heroes. He does so, unfortunately, with the complicity of Superman and Wonder Woman, the Justice League.
And Batman.
And so we are then presented with the protagonist, what's his name?
Which one?
The character, the narrator.
Oh, Beacon.
Beacon then lands in this new future, meeting his uncle, who is Static, who is busy at university, I think, just studying.
Yes, I think so.
And says, like, you need to be a hero. And then Static goes and finds his costume and decides that he is going to be a hero again, despite the gagging order.
Yeah. The classic, like, I know you didn't want to be a hero, but do you want to be a hero again?
So there are there's a reason I read that Langston Hughes poem at the start.
It was mentioned in this, wasn't it?
It was.
Yes.
So, God, what was his name again? The protagonist?
Beacon.
Fuck me. Beacon
never seem to struggle to remember the white characters' names. That's a joke. Jamie forgets all characters' names.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm not racist, I'm tired.
Has that ever been a defense before? Your Honor.
I mean, it's better than I'm autistic or I don't sweat.
Yes. Those famously awful defenses.
Yeah. So the Beacon says that his uncle, Static, used to read him a lot of stories, and in this new timeline, he only ever read him the same Langston Hughes poem, which I read at the opening of the podcast because I thought it was a very relevant and beautiful poem about the manner in which he felt the American dream was being postponed for black people in Harlem.
Yeah.
Post-World War II, it's the 1950s, boom of consumer goods, the American economy is growing after the war, largely thanks to them being paid back loans they paid to the European powers to prop up the war effort before they entered it. The Americans did very well out of World War II. They made a lot of money out of us all suffering.
And the victor normally does, or is it more like, Christ, we've got a lot of debts, but we won? Like,
well, yeah. So the French were largely bankrupted by it. We were largely bankrupted by it. We spent a lot of money in the war, borrowed a lot more from America.
Right.
We borrowed a lot. We borrowed a lot of money and weapons from America during World War II. Those loans started being paid back in the 1950s. That coupled with the Americans producing consumer goods, huge quantity, incredibly cheaply, meant that for middle class white Americans, the getting was very good. Langston Hughes was part of the Harlem Renaissance. A really prominent thinker and writer in, you know what Harlem is, obviously. Really prominent thinker and writer in Harlem in the 1950s. And he wrote that poem basically saying that the American dream is being postponed for black Americans. And there are so many fucking nods to black history and kind of, you know, that weird parallel history that exists in America where you kind of have to talk about there being two separate histories in American history, because there is history as the history of white America, and then running alongside it is the history of black America, and they're of course intertwined, but it's a very different set of experiences, right?
Yeah, the way I heard it more simply was there's two Americas.
And there are, yeah, absolutely. And this comic book does a really interesting job of presenting black American history, right?
Yeah, I think what it does a good job of, and again, this is from our perspective, we are lesser experienced, lesser qualified to talk on the kind of stuff.
We're both fucking white.
Yeah, painfully, but
yeah, we live on a little sun-starved island to the extent that we are like not only white, but we are pasty white.
Comedian I'm a big fan of, a guy called Reginald D. Hunter, American comedian, but performs and lives, I think, in England. He put it best when he said when other black people in America would ask him what England's like, and he says, it's white people's Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we're so white, we're white British.
Yes. So that is all to say, as a reader, and with whatever experience I've got, with whatever relevant experience I've got to say, it did feel like it was good at capturing the vibe of, you know, government oppression on a free society, a free community, but especially in this story as well, because it's actually the death of a white successful businessman that opens the floodgates to this thing happening. They also, the reason the government are going in the first place at all, and this is kind of twofold why it's a good thing, they use this event called the Big Bang in Dakota, which is basically an event where a bunch of people got superpowers, became metahumans, and the US government were like, right, we need to actually step in and sort this. But they include the superheroes with just the general metahumans. But what I like especially about that is that's the origin of Static.
Yeah.
So once it's also reframing Static as the kind of somewhat de facto main character, or like the main character of all this, because it's his origin that's being used to that actually start this storyline as well.
And I think, you know, it's one of the things that it does a really good job of doing is it's never specified that they are going in and stripping these people of their ability to be heroes because they're black, right? It's never explicitly stated. In the same way that the crack epidemic was never explicitly stated in the crack epidemic that it was a government directive to impact black people. But of course, it's now well known that the CIA flooded black communities with crack and then used that as a way to criminalize them, right? So it has these really, really strong parallels to things that have actually happened in American history.
Yeah, with the crack epidemic thing, the only reason I'm talking about this at all is because I recently watched a TV show called Snowfall, and it's a fictionalized drama based on true events as best, because, you know, CIA stuff, like how much they can confirm stuff is true, but it's about that, like it's literally the CIA bringing in cocaine into America.
Yeah.
And the way it frames it, because I always thought it was like you say, like a very direct, like let's flood these black communities with crack cocaine. I think the more likely thing is it's less likely it was an intention of let's do this thing. I think it was more of a ambivalence to not giving a shit, because the reason they were raising the money was to get arms for the Nicaraguans.
Dude, no, Nixon's. Do you not? So one of Nixon's aides, one of the guys who was really, really instrumental in in the war on drugs, wrote a book in the 2000s, and there's a quote from it where he directly says, there was no legal basis for us to criminalize either being black or being a hippie, but through the criminalization of cannabis, crack, and heroin, we were able to criminalize it.
Oh, yeah. No,
they have stated explicitly.
Yeah, the criminalization of marijuana, especially. Like, I agree with that.
The criminalization of marijuana and heroin criminalized being a hippie, and the criminalization of crack cocaine criminalized being black. Like, he specifically wrote a book stating exactly what they did and how they did it. He admitted that they flooded black communities with crack cocaine and then created the war on drugs as a way to criminalize being black.
See,
that expressly happened, mate. Like in the 80s in America, they did that. The evidence is overwhelming. The people who did it have gone on record as saying that they did it.
Yeah, I agree that they used it to put black people in prison. Like, that's undeniable. And that was like the goal of that. I think when it comes to get nitpicky, I think the reason they were flooding the communities with cocaine, because that's all they could, again, funding this Nicaragua fight, I think it's more sad that it was out of a kind of ambivalence of like, yeah, who cares about them kind of thing. Like, let's just make money. Like, I think after the fact, they were like, oh, we can use this to, like, we can push like this to, especially crack cocaine only being in the black communities because white people had more expensive and more upper class cocaine. Like, so they didn't need to do anything with it. So all I'm saying is I don't think it was like a let's get crack cocaine into communities and then we can arrest them. I think it's a more complex, like, oh, we could take advantage of this and do this thing that, you know, we don't like. But again, I think it's the ambivalence towards them. They were like, they didn't care what happened they didn't care they were destroying those communities. All there was important to them was we have to defeat communism in Nicaragua, but because we can't legally give them weapons, the Contras, to fight them. Yeah. Because it was the Sandinistas, I think, were the communist side. Because they couldn't do it, the CIA had to do it under the table. So like, well, what have you got? They're like, we've got cocaine. We make cocaine. Like, all right, we'll sell the cocaine, and then that money, we'll use that to give you weapons, and then we're not giving you weapons. We're just
letting the cocaine in.
Exactly. Yeah. Highly recommend it. Snowfall TV show. Very, very good TV show about all that kind of stuff.
But yes, the fact remains that there are parallels here.
Yeah,
the American state used certain demographic things other than race that they knew would be insanely closely drawn along racial lines to essentially criminalize blackness. And it's exactly what happens here.
And especially because another connection is the center thing, the center event, the Big Bang, which was basically the gangs and protesters as well.
And this is something that actually I wanted to highlight. So I'm really glad you brought it up, is that DC couldn't make a comic with a bunch of black heroes without saying that a bunch of them were gang members before they were heroes.
I was going to, because I thought that as well, but I did check this. That kind of one of the core tenets of the Dakotaverse and the Dakota City is that there was this area called, what they call Paris Island.
Yeah.
And that there was a lot of gang activity there. That was from the original stuff from the black creators.
So that this is just part of the Milestone.
Yeah, I think it was their point to be like, this is something that happens in reality. Like, it's not that there were never gangs doing gang activity and crime, but I think it was their point to be like, we can use this as a backdrop, but we can highlight these good heroes who are fighting against it.
Yeah.
And like that kind of thing. Because the character Virgil, who becomes Static, he just gets involved. He is there because
he's protesting?
No, it's because there's a guy at his school. I don't know if this is the updated one or the original one, but basically he's there because he's being bullied at school by some guy. But there's another guy who's helping him out, kind of watching his back. But the guy watching his back is a gang member. And it's like grooming to like bring him into the gang.
Right, yeah,
so the reason Virgil's there in the first place is he's kind of like, oh, I don't actually think I should be here, you know? And that's how he, and because he's a good guy, and that's how he becomes Static Hero. But another part I was going to mention as well, the reason this thing gives people superpowers in the first place is because it's a privatized private company initiative with the local government to be like, hey, we've got this radioactive isotope that will tag everyone in this area so we can then find like gang members and protesters, and then we can use the radiation from it to find them and arrest them later. Like Money's in Heist when the ink blot thing and it like gets ink on the person, they find them later.
Like what they do with our phones now.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the key things they say if you're going to go to a protest now, it's like, maybe don't take your phone.
Yeah.
Maybe don't take a device that leaves a digital footprint of everywhere you've been.
Yeah.
On it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
but
it's like, because your Android phone is inextricably linked to Google and Google location services. You're then giving a third party a record of where you've been.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go and do some anarchy, maybe don't take your smartphone.
Take your dumb phone. Or
don't take a phone at all.
Or that, yeah.
Take a Molotov cocktail and a fucking balaclava. Don't take your phone.
And if you do need to take selfies, take an old-fashioned digital camera and then just upload them when you get home.
Yeah, and just make sure that, although my partner uses a printing service, right? And it fucking prints a geotag on the back of the photographs.
Yeah.
Mental these days. Mental.
Oh, yeah. We're in it, brother. So the reason I mention all this as well is because the company is like, yeah, we're just gonna radioactive thing, just tags the people, we'll find them later, and very safe and all that. And then when it happens, like, oh no, we've given everyone superpowers.
We've given all the people we actually wanted to arrest superpowers.
Exactly. And then it's revealed that they knew exactly what they were doing, and the whole point was give a bunch of people superpowers, and then the government can come in and be like, oh, you've got a bloody bunch of metahumans, you can't handle this, you're gonna need the US government to help you. So maybe even the Justice League.
And nobody ever needs the US government to help them.
I mean, historically, either they don't help you, or if they're helping you, it's not help.
Like, yeah, if I was shot in the foot, right, and I was just like waiting for somebody to help me, and then the people that turned up with the US government, I would just pretend to have not been shot in the foot.
Or if you were shot by Dick Cheney on a duck hunting trip.
Didn't he shoot somebody in the face?
I don't know if it was in the face, but he definitely shot someone who I think worked for him. And the person who got shot apologized afterwards.
Because he's Dick Cheney.
Sorry for getting in the way of your bullet.
Well, it was duck shot, wasn't it? It was a shotgun.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. Like,
so, sorry for getting in the way of your pellet.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least it wasn't a buckshot.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? You shoot a motherfucker with... Because, like, duck shot will just... I think Dave Chappelle once said, duck shot will pepper a motherfucker up good.
Yeah.
But buckshot...
we'll finish him off.
Yeah. When you load a shotgun, it's duck shot, buckshot.
Yeah. For exactly that reason. And that's the home defense version, not the shooting your friend on outside on a trip who's wearing a bright orange, like, high-vis jacket.
In fairness, he shouldn't have got in his duck costume.
I'd say... I thought he said Daffy Duck. I always loved the... I saw a meme recently, which was... all the people who are getting named in the Epstein files, but Dick Cheney not being one of them. It's like he just did all that imperialist foreign conflict stuff for the love of the game. Like no one was blackmailing him. He just loved doing that stuff. It's like you got to respect that to an extent. Like
I don't really know a whole lot about Dick Cheney. I know you're really into American politics. I know he was he someone's vice?
Yeah, W's.
So he was G-Dub's vice.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Not D-Dubs, the comic writer.
No, G-Dubs.
Oh, G-Dubs, yeah.
George W. Bush.
I thought you said D-Dubs.
George W. Bush, the second.
Yeah, not Daniel Warren Johnson's vice president.
But he was George Bush Jr.'s vice,
yes,
right?
That's why I said W, yeah. I only realised this recently that George Bush Sr. didn't have the W in it, and that's how they distinguished them. That's why it was George W. Bush. Because otherwise it would have just been the exact same name. Or senior and junior on the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen him referred to as George Bush Senior. It's really interesting because when I think of Bush, obviously being the age I am, I think of George W. Bush.
Yeah.
And then you listen to Bush Senior talk, and you're like, "Wow, he was pretty switched on." Actually, I mean, he was a dickhead, but he was pretty switched on.
Oh yeah. I mean, these days you get evil tyrants who are really bad at the job. It's like, can we at least get someone competent who's like taking away our rights, or would that be worse?
I don't know.
That's the question.
It's so hard,
That's a deeper philosophical question that is once again above our pay grade.
So I think the reason that we chose to talk about this is that there were some characters here that we liked. Now, you really liked Static, didn't you?
Yeah, big fan.
And I thought Static was really cool. However, I wanted to talk about Hardware.
Yeah.
I thought he was cool. I thought he was like...
I thought we didn't get enough of him.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of it, is that I kind of got a glimpse of this character who I'm not 100% sure if he's powered or if he's just in a suit.
I think the idea is that he's kind of rising up the ranks in this like privatized tech company, and when he got falsely blamed for as a patsy scapegoat fall guy.
But Ezra being killed?
No, for the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought he got blamed for Ezra being killed.
He did as well.
Right, he got blamed for everything.
They were like, we've already blamed this stuff on this black guy before. We might as well use him again. No, he was just first on the scene, I think, was the
Yeah.
problem with the murder. But in like a corporate thing, it's like, we need a fall guy for this and you're going to take the bait.
Yeah.
And I think that, I like that as like that being the instigator of him being like, I'm going to just make a suit of armor and I'm going to take down this evil corporation. I'm like, that's cool. I love that stuff. Like, let's get on that board. Let's get on board.
I just thought he was cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't get enough of him. And I'm like, if I would like to see a run, I would like to see Hardware's run. I think Hardware's a great name for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's obvious Iron Man.
Well, it's interesting that there's parallels with Iron Man, absolutely. But I think it's interesting you've got a chance with the character to go in a different direction of it.
Yeah.
Whereas Iron Man was always very pro-capitalism, pro-business. Like, he's very much like I'm Iron Man because of capitalism.
Yeah.
Like, Hardware, you can look at it from like fighting against corporate corruption.
Yeah.
And like him being kicked out of that, and then like because he was an insider and knows the system.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'd be a cool thing to see a guy be like, dismantle this evil corporation by being someone who was in it and knew how it works and stuff.
Exactly.
And he could put together a suit of armor with rockets and stuff.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of cool things they could do with that character. And so I would be really stoked. This is my open letter to DC. I think you should do a Hardware run and you should do the shit out of it, and it should be an unlimited series, and we will talk about it.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
We would talk about it.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, in the same way that we like talking about comics on this podcast, and the same way as this comic book reader, the point of this comic was to read this and go, oh, I didn't know much about these characters or know them at all, but now I'm interested because of this really good story. Like, even though it's a place setter story, it's so good that people should be like, oh, a minimum, like, let's see some static, like, let's see some Icon, because he looks like a cool character, where we get a brief glimpse of his backstory, where he's an alien who arrived on Earth in like 1830s.
Yeah.
And I looked this up afterwards. His ship that he arrived on, it has a thing where it makes the occupant look like the first first intelligent being it meets on or sees on the planet that it lands on. First one they see is a black slave. So it made Icon in their image.
Yeah.
And then what's cool is Icon has like this, he kind of has a bit of an outsider perspective himself, but also someone who's very much experiencing the same racism that all other black people are in the same time as well. The only thing I don't like about Icon that I read like in his history as a character is apparently he landed on Earth, became a black person, and then just didn't do anything with his powers for like hundreds of years. And then it just got to the present where he was like pretending to be a lawyer, and he's pretending to be his son over and over again.
Right. Okay.
And someone breaks into his house, and then he's like, oh, I'll use my powers. And then he's like, actually, one of the people breaking his house is the person who became Rocket.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, you have superpowers. You should become a superhero. And he's like, what's that? Or whatever. So because the reason I think they did it that way is because they like the origin. It's a good origin of him landing, being a black slave, and becoming a black person. But then they're like, but we want his actual origin as a hero to be in the present. So we just did nothing for like 150 years or something.
Well, because if not, they've got to find like 150 years worth of stuff that he was doing, right?
Yeah.
But again, if you gave me an Icon run where he was, and this is a challenging thing to write. I think anything that is set in the midst of like chattel slavery, and you know, North American slavery is a challenging write, because it's not a nice topic to talk about for anyone, and
especially for something as kind of generally low stakes as superhero stories.
Yeah. But also,
it's like the Captain Britain's going to go and solve the troubles. Like, it's kind of that, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, if that's really delicately handled, that could be a fascinating read.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I'm not touching it with your dick.
Yeah.
You know? And I think setting any piece of media in that particular point in American history is challenging. I mean, the most notable thing that I think has been made about that in kind of most recent history was Django Unchained.
Django Unchained and 12 Years a Slave, which kind of came out similar times.
Very different
pieces
of media. I think 12 Years a Slave is more delicately handled.
Oh, for sure.
Django Unchained is essentially a Quentin Tarantino power fantasy and another opportunity for him to use the N-word as often as he wanted to.
I mean, he wrote the N-word a lot in it. I don't think his character said it in that, his like cameo character.
No.
What he did was he did an absolutely fucking awful Australian accent.
Yeah, I think he said black fella.
Yeah, exactly.
You seem all right for a black fella.
But then what's interesting about that is when you do hear from some like black people who take in like, films and TV and stuff, I think the consensus generally is it's good to have those very serious, like this is as bad as it was, like a realistic telling kind of stories. Yeah. But then it's also good to have those power fantasy, like, yeah, fucking kill those like slave owners, like, and this blow is the thing, up the house.
It? It's like we read
serve
Mouse.
A purpose.
We read Mouse.
Yes. Very serious.
Yeah, very, very serious, but also really artistically handled and kind of beautiful in its own way. Schindler's List. Really, really, really sensitive, delicate, incendiary material.
I think I know where you're going.
But an incredible piece of cinema.
Oh, yeah. And then after that, you then go, I thought you were going to go to then another Tarantino film, Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Inglourious Bastards, which is...
We're killing Nazis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fucking Aldo Rain with a rope burn around his neck, scalping Nazis.
The two lines I always remember from it is, we're killing Nazis, or something like that, and buongiorno.
Buongiorno. So I think there's a real scope here to maybe take that icon character and set a superhero power fantasy in amidst chattel slavery.
Yeah.
And have a black superhero absolutely fucking dismantling the machinations of black slavery, of slavery.
Yeah.
And again, would that be, could that be fucking awful? Yes. If it was written by the right people and delicately handled, could it be interesting? Potentially.
I mean, good or bad, it would be interesting just because it's taking such a creative swing in the first place.
I think if it's bad, it's not interesting. Because if it's bad, then it's just super racist.
I mean, bad is interesting as well.
Yeah, I suppose. But my point is, they in the Milestone characters, DC kind of have a wealth of content. And I think DC now, in this climate, they either need to give these characters back, right? And say, they need to either put these characters in the public domain and say, you can just write stories about them because they exist. They have existed for 50 years nearly now. And
since 93, so 30 years.
Yeah, so they've existed for 3 decades now, and they deserve to be stories about these characters. Or they need to commission those fucking stories, right? And I think that they don't even need to do the work of creating characters. They have them. And they're good. Yeah. Like, Icon is an interesting character. Rocket's an interesting character. Static is an interesting character. They've got Hardware. They've got 4 really solid characters here.
They've also got and I didn't know this group at all before reading this for my sins.
What, because you're racist?
Yeah, because I thought, nah. I thought, what about white characters? Why don't they get featured? But... Again, joking, to make that clear. That's going to get clipped. But there was another group called Blood Syndicate. And they're basically a gang who tried to do good after getting their powers in the Big Bang.
Yeah.
And from there, you can do like the X-Men-esque style, or just team, like, or Justice League,
the
or
big
Avengers.
Ensemble thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there's loads to do with it. I think Static is the one, again, I've been saying it, I think Static is the one that you can kind of put front and center.
Yeah.
And then if you get him off the ground with an ongoing series and get it successful, and he's the most well-known character of these, like, you get him off the ground, and again, they are putting him on the new Titans series from August. Yeah. Like, he's joining the ranks with bloody Dick Grayson, getting on there.
I know, and do you know what? I think that may be the point, which is if we see that stuff with Static and Dick Grayson and it's good, because I fucking love me some Dick Grayson.
Well, this is where some of the criticism, I think some of the best faith criticism of the boycott comes in, where the response from some people is, instead of boycotting, why don't you use the same energy and promotion to highlight black characters and black creators who are working currently, like in DC and wherever else? And so that would be a thing of like, do you keep a boycott going, or do you go, hey, this series that this prominent black character, black superhero is really good, and we want to tell everyone how good it is and that they should check it out.
And ultimately, I don't think anybody gives a shit if we boycott or we don't. Ultimately, I think they have a valid point.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. When I first heard about it, I was like, what's going on here? Like, I was curious. And then in reading, I read everything that the boycott was saying. And then I looked at the arguments against, because I think that's the best way to kind of...
And I didn't really agree with them.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to steel man an argument of like, if you see one side thing, check out the other side. And again, in terms of the way they do it, that was the only what I said earlier about like what they should do with the energy. And the only other thing I saw was there was a very intentional drawing of the line between the mainline stuff and the Absolute Universe stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw arguments before and against like why that is the case.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like actually the Absolute stuff is where DC's energy is really going at the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think I think the distinction between the Absolute Universe and the mainline is a bit arbitrary, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think the point that the people organizing the boycott made was, even though the Absolute stuff is so successful, the mainline universe is the staple of DC Comics.
Yeah, I just feel like it's arbitrary. It's all shit they're putting out.
Yes.
It's all stuff that they're doing. Because then you get into like, does Miles Morales count?
Well, he's Marvel, so...
Well, I know, but he was an Ultimate Universe guy.
Yeah, and then was brought into the mainline universe.
Yeah.
So
does he count though?
I guess so. I see him mentioned in a lot of discussions about
him.
so I'd say so. Yeah,
he's a personal favorite Marvel character for me. I think he's really cool.
Oh yeah, and Marvel are doing a lot better job of it. I mean, Storm is still an ongoing series right now. Black Panther is normally always like got something going. Luke Cage is a lesser popular character in terms like he doesn't always have an ongoing, but that's more of like he's just a less popular character than already established characters like Black Panther, Storm, Miles Morales. But I don't know, Luke Cage is definitely one of my favorites. Like, I'd like to see more stuff.
You love Luke Cage. Like, whenever we talk about him, you always get a little bit excited.
Yeah, it was ever since the TV show, when Netflix were doing the Defenders TV shows, and he just looks so cool. Like,
yeah.
But
fantastic costuming, like really cool. They are just over the past 10 years they have done better. Because I think one of the arguments made by the Black Comics Alliance was that there have been only 10 continuing series featuring a black main character, and only one of those has made it past 50 issues.
Yeah,
it's just not a lot of representation, is it?
No, exactly. Now, one thing I would say is I suspect that DC are going to announce very soon a black-led ongoing series.
Yeah,
the reason that a lot of people suspect this is because there's a writer, Stephanie Williams, who is currently nominated for Eisner Award for Best Writing as well. For a few things. So she's nominated for writer of a series called Street Sharks, as well as Roots of Madness and Temporal. And Temporal has been nominated itself for Best New Series.
Cool.
So definitely one I think we'll have to check out at some point soon. But also, she has been trying to get a Vixen series off the ground for a few years now.
Yeah.
So Vixen is a character, again, for my sins, I don't know much about.
Yeah.
She has, I think, had an animated show, or been part of an animated show. Cool. But she's a character who's been around and been on, like, Titans or Justice League, those kind of things.
Those drawings are cool.
Yes. Basic powers is, like, embodying animal spirits to kind of get their powers of, like, flight or strength or agility or what have you.
That's pretty cool.
So... apparently, Stephanie Williams, she made a post recently, not directly referencing the DC Blackout, but just obviously subtle reference to it.
Yeah.
Basically saying, all I know is that when this announcement happens for this long-awaited project, I, and a few more black creators, have coming, pre-orders better be through the fucking roof. So she's got something coming that is hinting at people think it's going to be a Vixen series because she's been talking about this Vixen series.
So
that she's been...
they already have something in the works.
Yes,
with her.
I think.
Do you think they've gone? Oh fuck! Are there any? Oh, that woman had that Vixen thing. Can we just buy that?
Oh yeah, I think behind the scenes, that's basically what's happening.
Yeah.
And I think publicly facing, they're going to be like, "Here's this. We're doing this Vixen series. We've had it in the plans for a long time." And we're just announcing it now for no other reason because boycotts don't work.
But I think fucking cynical.
Exactly.
I see you, DC. I see what you're doing. But also, I think we can't then complain because people have asked them to do a thing. If they then do the thing, it's like, well, you needed to be told, yes, but you did the thing.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, we said we wouldn't talk about the boycott. We're going to talk about it really briefly. There's one thing I want to say about it.
Yeah.
Is that initially because I didn't fucking know about it. I'm not as in the weeds with you as you. But when you initially mentioned it to me, I kind of went, well, actually, a lot of these people probably aren't comic book fans. It's just, activism. It's an area in which somebody has decided to do some activism. I was quite cynical. And then you were like, no, actually, look into it. And the people leading the charge are journalists and creators in the industry. They are people who care about and love this medium and want to see themselves represented in the comic books that they consume. And I can't get mad at that.
No, not at all.
I find it hard to disagree with that. I find it hard to dislike that. And so I think it is an act of utmost good faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there is always like a certain degree of like maybe it's what we're doing really on some level. There's always a certain degree of performative allyship on behalf of white people when black issues come up. I think we saw a lot of it in 2020. Fucking black squares on Instagram. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And as a white person, I'm fairly well fucking read up on black history. I was a librarian many years ago, and I had to put together a couple of years running a special collection for Black History Month. And I made a point of reading all of the best. I made a point of reading a bunch of books written by black people about black history. And so like I can recommend to you Natives by Akala, which is a really fantastic book about black history. I can recommend to you Why I No Longer Talk to White People About Race, which is fantastic, really delves into the intersectionality between racism and misogyny. Anything by David Olusoga. David Olusoga is a British historian of, he's Black British, part of the Black British of African descent, I believe. And he wrote some fantastic books about the history of black people in Britain. Like I've read up on it because I had to create special collections in a library in an area with a really high black population about black history, and I wanted to make sure I did a fucking good job of it. Not through any kind of performative allyship. It was my job. Yeah. It was literally my job to do that, and so I made sure that professionally speaking, I did a good job of it. And so it's one of those things where I kind of like, I feel maybe more equipped to speak on it than some white people, but nowhere near well equipped enough to actually speak on it.
Compared to someone's lived-in experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I fucking read the books, and the overall sense that I got from reading the books is that you just shut the fuck up and listen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the main message is be curious and, listen to what people are saying.
Yeah, be curious, be respectful, but ultimately...
And that doesn't mean you just have to take everyone's word at face value and not question anything. It's like just invite the information, like get the argument,
I think it's interesting when you listen to white people when there are conversations about race, because people have this propensity to get offended, and you just kind of have to leave it, you have to leave your ego at the door a little bit and just go, people are having a conversation that ultimately has to include me, but that I'm not at the front of, because you can't have a meaningful conversation about race without white people, because ultimately we are either part of the solution, or if we do nothing and say nothing, part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be involved, and we have to involve ourselves, and
we're very good at involving ourselves in conversations that we weren't invited to.
Well, I mean, if white people didn't involve ourselves when we didn't need to, there wouldn't be a problem, would there?
Yeah.
Like ultimately. But you just, and so I just feel like it's the reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
And it was reasonable to put out an episode, just highlighting the fact that, the problem is sort of endemic, and that actually they have the intellectual properties there. They just need to do something with them.
Yeah, and that was the main point we just wanted to highlight.
Yeah, is that, you have these characters, which, by the way, really cool, like really fun, good solid superhero characters. Just fucking commission some people to write the stories. I really hope that listener who gets angry when I talk about American politics listens to this episode where I talk about all the books I've read about American history.
I mean, put it this way, if that person has intentionally not listened to our stuff, but is like keep an eye out to see like what things we cover, I feel like this one will be the the bait that gets them back involved.
Yeah. We've opened the trap.
Yeah.
And we've put a little bait in there. I don't know what this episode is going to be called. I advocated, right, for Batman and Superman super racist ?
And I somewhat vetoed that.
Well, ultimately, Ryan does the uploads. And so Ryan just chooses the episode titles.
And I think it's just going to be the title of the comic we've covered. And
that's weak. That's weak.
And maybe the DC Blackout, what's going on, or something like that.
Maybe Ryan and Jamie do a racism. I think that should be the title.
Tune in to determine whether we did a racism or not.
I don't think we did a racism.
I don't think so. But
that's not for us to decide.
Exactly. That's for everyone else. It's for everyone else to have their judgment, you know?
Oh, no. Did Ryan and Jamie... Write in. If you think we did a racism, write in.
And write in if you think using the term did a racism is actually reducing a very serious real thing.
Look, right, you have to joke about these things.
You gotta laugh.
Because if not, there are people out there just doing racisms and you let them win.
Yeah. And that's the message you gotta take away from this.
Yeah.
I thought that the joke like that, or a bit like that you would take offense to, not on a morality or racial level, but on a grammatic level. I thought that would be the thing.
I think there is a charm to knowingly playing with grammar. I think...
That's what I do whenever I get it wrong.
Yeah, all right, whatever. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue on you. Do you know what? That's one of those where if I argue with it, I'm the knobhead, so I'm just not going to. No, I think there's a charm in the verbose and fresh use of the English language.
Yes.
It's just when people mix up lesser and fewer and the little vein pops up on the side of my head.
And using the word fewer is especially important to you, being a grammar Nazi. That's a good joke. That was a really good joke. Come on.
Yeah, it was. It was. But the term is grammarian.
Or right supremacist.
No! Or it's always been grammarian. Like, I don't understand.
Hey, if you're trying to get over your ideology onto everyone else forcefully, I can't say anything.
Yes, I am. Yes.
So, maybe to lighten up just for the last few minutes.
Are you going to do a racism?
No, I'm going to do our rarely visited, but enjoyable when we do it. Kind of what are we consuming? What are we reading, watching, listening to?
Oh, yeah, do it.
So I had the pleasure of watching a TV show recently called Spider-Noir. Do you remember from Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
The character Nicolas Cage voiced.
Yeah.
They released a live-action series of that character. So it was...
Please tell me it's played by Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it's played by Nicolas Cage.
Are you fucking bullshitting me?
No, it's real.
It's on Disney Plus.
It's on Amazon Prime because Sony still own the Spider-Man rights.
So it's Nicolas Cage playing
Spider-Noir.
And Nicolas Cage is either really good or really not very good.
He's amazing in it. But
well, this is the thing. He's either amazing or shit.
I think he's always interesting.
Yeah, he's always interesting, but his performances are always like they swing between two huge binaries, don't they?
Swing like Spider-Man.
Oh, hey!
That's
nice.
why your joke was your obvious intended joke was funny.
The obviously intentional joke that I definitely made knowingly.
Yeah. So it's a great show. I was surprised how good it was for a Sony Spider-Man release because the Spider-Man movies they make with Marvel and the MCU, great. Everything else they make, not so great. Like all their Morbius and Craven and Madam Web bullshit. So I went into this being like, how's this going to be? And then I heard good reviews. And I was like, oh, fair enough. And it's a actually great noir detective storyline that happens to have a main character with spider powers and some other superpowered villains.
We're not going to get to talk about the Robert Pattinson Batman anytime soon. So maybe we should talk about it so we can get our noir fix.
And what is so good about it was, like I said, it's actually like a noir. I was worried that it was going to be Spider-Man noir in a typical like Marvel-esque story, but just with the setting of noir detective series. It's actually the story is actually like follows the beats of classic detective noir stories.
That's so much fun.
And Nicolas Cage had a lot of fun making this, apparently, because what I found very interesting about it, for one thing, you can watch it either in color or black and white.
Oh,
and the black and white looks gorgeous. Like it looks really good.
How'd you get to choose?
On the Prime streamer thing. There's some people have had like issues where like finding the option to change it. And I, for my sins, I watched it in color and regretted it. Like, not regret it because it still looked good, but I wish I had watched it in black and white.
Yeah.
I was just a bit too much for what if I missed something without the color?
You massive fanny.
And then I got halfway through it and I was like, well, I can't switch to black and white now. So I'll leave it a while and maybe then revisit it and watch it in black and white later. But I've seen clips of the black and white and it looks really good. Nicolas Cage.
I love black and white.
It looks good. I'm so used to color. I think that's my thing.
Big fan.
I'm a basic bitch when it comes to color grading and live action stuff.
Yeah, so I have a shitload of black and grey tattoos, don't I? And I love black and grey photography and then black and grey movies.
You should definitely check this series out then.
Yeah.
You can watch in black and white and then we'll compare.
100% I'm gonna go home and...
What is so good about it is Nicolas Cage obviously had a great time doing this, but you can tell while watching it, they've put in a lot of stuff to appeal to Nick Cage to be you'll have fun playing this because we've written this stuff in. So for one thing, he's playing a classic noir character.
Yeah.
So he is doing a little bit a subtle version of it, but of that, look here, see? That kind of
Oh, that's great.
Stuff. But
and
also,
he can be a really good actor when he wants to be.
So the thing about Nick, all right, I'll finish my point and I'm going to talk about how great Nick Cage is or why Nick Cage is great. But they put in, because he's a detective, he pretends to be other people at points. So he puts on different voices when he's pretending to be someone else. He's I'm back from the war. So, that kind of stuff. There's a whole bit about, it's got one of the most original and inventive, person getting their spider powers, origins.
Awesome.
Which is just crazy. You won't believe it when you see it.
Does he get bitten by bees?
No. Bees! Not the bees! Not the bees! But what they do put in is him getting the powers. They put a lot of stuff how close to a spider he actually became. So part of his, apparently after he watched, so his character watches films in the cinema, which are obviously noir films in black and white. But he says he watched them to learn how to be human again, to get his humanity back and his cadence and actions and stuff. So Nick Cage talking about playing a character who watches black and white films and learning from them and then incorporating them in his performance.
That's cool.
As a whole performance. And then there's parts where his body moves weird because, and he mentions it, spiders, the way spiders move, their stuff is all contracted. And because when they die, they go on their back and their legs just contract. Yeah. So all their movements are them hydraulically pushing the stuff out. Yeah. Whereas humans, we just move in all kinds of directions.
Yeah.
They're always actively pushing against themselves to spread out. So when he has these moments where he his arms go up like this and he's moving weird, and at one point he lies down in bed and it's his hands and feet are up in the air. So what I'm saying,
you are shitting me. This isn't real.
It's great. It's so good.
This can't be real.
Yeah. And
who at Sony fucking greenlit this? It's insane.
I don't know who greenlit it, but executive producers are team Lord and Miller, who were the main creative guys behind Spider-Verse.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So they were obviously if we get Nick Cage on board, we're doing this.
Because if you get Nick Cage, you just do the thing, don't you?
And then they went to Nick Cage and they were all the other stuff I said, and you could do weird body movements. You can incorporate those in your performance as well. And he was I'm in. And apparently,
is that your Nick Cage?
Yeah, so it's good, isn't it? Now, share the thing. Pretty good, Nick Cage.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
And I genuinely think they went to him here's all the stuff you could do, and he was great. And the thing with Nick Cage is, I think what's so good about him is he's the only mainstream actor who views acting differently to everyone else who views it the same way, which is every other actor is doing how do I make this believable and realistic? That's all they're striving for, right? Nick Cage is the only mainstream actor who's approaching acting as an art form where your performance doesn't have to just be realistic. It can do anything else.
I don't know that Nick Cage is a mainstream actor anymore. I think he was.
I
think he was 20 years ago, but I think the mainstream has kind of moved away from him. I don't see him in things anymore.
He's in things. He's selling things. He's a guy who is a name that people will buy a ticket to go see something for.
100%.
There's not many of those.
He's
left.
Always interesting.
And that's I would still absolutely class him as mainstream. And
okay, fair. I mean, I'll take it.
If for nothing else, from being from a time where you could become a mainstream name and just still being in the business of doing stuff.
Yeah, it's because he was there was a point where he was almost considered as a standard leading man, right?
Well, he was going down that route because he got his Oscar early. He got his Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas, I think. And he'd already done like the critically acclaimed Raising Arizona, which like the Coen brothers film.
Yeah.
So he got some high achievements really early in his career.
And then got to do whatever the fuck he wanted for a bit.
I think so. And he did like the main leading man action stuff in Con Air. He did the kind of indie stuff with Matchstick Men, like where it's like a lot more somber stuff.
Oh, his filmography, his oeuvre is huge.
Oh,
he's done so many films.
He's done everything. And what most people from our generation know him for is, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, it's the Da Vinci Code, isn't it?
National Treasure?
Is it National Treasure?
It's not Da Vinci Code. That's Tom Hanks.
Oh, I get those two mixed up, clearly.
One is religious propaganda, and the other is a really fun action romp with historical American history stuff as well.
Do I think, have I always thought that the Da Vinci Code is better than it is because I think it's the Nick Cage one?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Da Vinci Code film and book, I mean, I know the film's not great. Apparently the book is awful.
Well, yeah, Dan Brown's not known to be a great writer.
Whereas again, National Treasure has the line, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, I've seen that film. I remember it.
It's a great line. It's a great film. So yeah, it's definitely worth watching. If you like me, this could have passed me by if I didn't hear the good reviews about it, and I'm so glad I checked out. Highly worth watching if you even have a passing interest in Spider-Man stuff. So
thank you.
Do with that information what you will.
Thank you very much.
So the last bit that we can get to is just a quick visit into Comment Corner. Which means we do have to play the Comment Corner music.
No. I know. You told me that this was happening, and I'm not on board with it.
So once again, let's go back to...
No, don't do it.
Comment Corner.
It's even worse than I thought it was going to be.
It's worse because the phone didn't react to my pressing the button.
Can I at least mock that up at home and bring it in?
Yeah. Do you want me to do another clean version so you get it perfectly?
No, I'm done.
It's no work on me at all. I'm more than glad to do it. Let's go to Comment Corner.
I fucking hate it. I hate it so fucking much. Like, it makes me so unhappy.
But think how happy you'll make the listeners.
I don't give a fuck. Honestly, like, I don't care. I don't do this for them. I do it for me.
Well, at least you're honest.
What are they saying? Give me a comment.
We don't even have any comments.
Do we not? Is there not even anything?
I didn't have any to bring up. I just wanted to do the music.
You just wanted to do that? You just literally...
Yeah.
Right, let me see. We at least need to see if anyone said anything interesting. Because there's always comments. It's just whether or not they're interesting.
I do have one from a superfan, Leon Goopy.
Yeah.
Who just remarked that the Christian Bale tangent was passionate after all. And I think that just confirms that all our tangents are, if nothing else, at least interesting and passionate, as we've established.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I really like Christian Bale.
It was more the argument about whether we think he would have taken steroids for Batman Begins or not.
Yeah, and I will passionately defend him every week.
I don't know why. Again, he's if you didn't listen last week, my argument was you just don't think he's the kind of person who would take steroids, which I get where you're coming from there. But also what he is the kind of person is to do anything and everything to get in a certain shape for a film.
You need to
and
stop.
I don't think that...
You just need to stop using your platform to slander Christian Bale, mate.
Oh, he's one of the greatest living actors. But alas, I think that's the only interesting one we've had this week so far. And unfortunately, we are recording earlier than we have in the past few weeks. This is going to be a week before this comes out.
We're recording on release day. I can't even remember what the last episode was.
It was Wolverine Armageddon thing.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
It was a great episode.
This was better though.
Well, they're always better. They get better every week. We've been quietly improving week on week for nearly 200 episodes now.
Yeah, one day we'll reach our final form.
What, where we just do the biggest racism and get cancelled?
No, we do the racism to try cancel us, and then we become alt-right and then grift the audience into giving us money. That's the plan, isn't it?
Fuck yeah. We're releasing Literate Coin.
Literate Coin.
Where did you get that samples?
I mean, where else? The internet.
Ryan, I'm going to break your phone. I'm going to take that phone and destroy it.
Well, it's a good thing. Good thing I've got a real air horn on the way, just for a bit of realism, you know.
I'm really unhappy.
Well, In that case, we should probably end.
This has ruined my
episode.
day. I don't know anymore, Ryan. I'm tired.
I can tell, which is why, as I said, we're ending the episode. But thank you for listening, as always.
Goodbye.
And here's a message for me telling you what to do. And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe to get notified of our future episodes as well. And if you're feeling particularly generous, then please leave a 5-star review on whatever podcast app you're using. If you'd like to get in contact with us, then send an email to comiclit@gmail.com. You can also watch videos by me on the Comic Stand YouTube page, which is linked in the description. Thank you, goodbye.